Hey, hello, I'm JulieJo. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're not new here, welcome back. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button. In today's video, we're going to talk about the psychology aspect of multi-level marketing companies and what goes on in them. I'm going to be using an article, a couple of them that I really enjoy, and I will link them below. I think you should go read both of them. They are incredible. And I'm not going to read all of them because they're not like super duper short, but they're not like really long. It's just a good medium, and I am going to talk 7 different points that one of these articles shows about the psychology behind MLMs, and then we're going to react to a video that I think might portray some of these very well. Before we get started, Liquid IV is having a 25% off sale. I do have an affiliate link with them. You can find that in my bio. My favorite is Sea Berry. Their new one is Strawberry Lemonade, so feel free to go try it out if you'd like, and let me know what you think. Today we're going to be reacting to Ashley Mayfield, who is at the very top of itworks. I have noticed myself doing a lot of itworks lately, which is odd. I haven't really done much of itworks in general, so I don't know what that's about, but Ashley Mayfield is definitely a great person to use, and there's a lot of her videos. I wanted to specifically go through videos and see which one matches, but honestly, I could have used any of her videos, truly. And it would have some aspect of what we're going to talk about when it comes about the cult psychology behind MLMs. I think she is a great example of someone who does mess with your mind, your emotions, your mentality. Honestly, she's very good at manipulation, and you'll be able to notice that as we go through. I'm going to do my normal thing where I stop. We'll talk about some stuff. I want to hear from you in the comments. I'm sure I'm not going to hit every single point perfectly, or I might miss some points that you think were important. Feel free to comment them below, and I do look at the majority of my comments that I can, and I appreciate you doing that.
I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin, cause we're still sleeping in my head. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin, cause we're still sleeping in my head.
So the video we're going to be reacting to today is called Why You're Not Reaching Your Goals. Before we do that though, I do want to hit on some topics that I think are really crucial before we get into it, and show you the connection between cult, MLM, psychology, how these things come together, and hopefully help connect some dots that maybe you have not noticed, or maybe you have, and that are just clearer for you, or maybe you can educate me more down below in the comments. So there is a little bit that I wanted to talk about from Dr. Hickson, who is an expert in cult and control groups. There is one specific spot where it says MLMs adopt cult techniques, and I'm going to put the link down below. You can read it all, but I'm only going to read a little bit of it. It says, to understand how MLMs recruit and maintain participants requires examining them as cults. Most MLMs use tactics of recruitment, financial manipulation, and the promise of large profits, but like all cults, they employ thought control, magical thinking, thought stopping, and self-blame. I want to talk a little bit more about magical thinking really quick, and I think you might can understand it from just context clues of the words, but I do think it's important, and I think this is actually a huge aspect of MLMs. What is magical thinking? It says most people don't believe in magic, but they may still wish for good outcome by knocking on wood. Magical thinking is the need to believe that one's hopes and desires can have an effect on how the world turns, because they're talking about how you hold the power to help your desires and your hopes and your dreams come true, and how this thing is going to help you do that. You accomplishing this thing, which is being successful in an MLM, is going to do that for you. So that's a little bit about magical thinking. Let's continue. We said, but like all cults, they employ thought control, magical thinking, thought stopping, and self-blame. Failures are blamed directly on the consultants for lack of hard work or competence, which I think a lot of us, if you've been on this channel for more than a minute, you've probably heard about that and how they do like to blame people for things that aren't their fault, like not succeeding in an MLM. To be completely honest, MLMs work best when only 1% do succeed. And then they say, oh, it's just because you didn't work hard enough. But in reality, we know you can work as hard as anyone else and even harder and still not succeed like them. Continuing, the group has no accountability and the leaders do not allow questions or criticism. Recruiters can be very convincing. They use deception in all its forms. withholding vital information, distorting information, and outright lying to ensnare people who have not learned about cult mind control techniques. There is no such cultish recruiting in a regular sales job. There's just not. But in MLMs, there is. Moving on to the majority of what I'm going to use from this article, it's called The Cult Psychology Behind MLMs, the tactics they use to bait and trap enthusiastic young mothers and hopeful freelancers, and so on. There's going to be this running idea of how we examine MLMs, and that we need to examine them not as just businesses or, sales jobs, but as actual cults. And that's what this person from this article named Lynn is doing. So it says, multi-level marketing schemes might not be religious organizations, but they're certainly forcing their participants to drink, quote unquote, the Kool-Aid. Rick Ross, the executive director of Ross Institute for Study of Destructive Cults, Controversial Groups, and Movements, highlighted several cult warning signs to watch out for when applied to MLMs. Many of these warning signs ring true. I'm going to go over 7 warning signs. I think these are all incredibly spot on. And if there's one that sits heavy with you, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. If there's one that you're like, man, not so much, I don't think that's in it, I would love to have a conversation about that. So, number 1, absolute authoritarianism without meaningful accountability. That's the first one. In some ways, multi-level marketing schemes are a brilliant business model, but only for the people at the top of the company. Whenever someone enters an MLM, they buy a quote-unquote starter kit, which could potentially be hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of inventory. The person who bought the starter kit thinks they're making an investment, but the company's just making a sale. I think that's an incredible point, is that you think you're investing, but really they're just making a sale. You're not even going to profit, right? Your investment's going to go right down the drain. It's just money for the company, which is true for the majority of people. Continuing. It doesn't really matter what the distributor does with that inventory once they have it. What matters is that the company has already made the money, and any commission the distributor makes from the inventory is just icing on the cake. The problem this system creates is a lack of accountability on the MLM side. People enter into MLMs with the mindset that they're going to get rich, or at least make a decent amount of side income. As long as they think there's a pile of cash at the end of the rainbow, people will go into debt while trying to make money in an MLM. Not only is this financially and emotionally stressful for the people inside MLMs, but it also places a strain on their loved ones too. How many of you have experienced this? Personally, for me, I definitely have experienced that strain on loved ones big time, and it's very upsetting. I, cut off plenty of people when I was in the MLM. I'm sure I'm not the only one who experienced that. In an online complaint board, one woman, dubbed Valerie, detailed the horrifying experience she faced when her husband became an Amway distributor. Valerie says, "When I realized my husband would never be able to bring himself to do things they asked in order to build the business, I asked and then begged that he stop spending the money on books and tapes, seminars, and major rallies. He just kept going on with it. And the longer I went, the more I realized that the primary reason we could not get any real help from our upline was that they already making plenty of money from us off the share of the tapes, the books, seminars, and rallies." MLMs don't really care about their distributors, and distributors don't really care about their distributors. People like Valerie and her husband go broke or fall into debt while chasing the unrealistic success dangling by MLMs. Ultimately, this doesn't hurt the MLM, not when they have hundreds of thousands of other participants that will keep throwing their money into the company. When asked about the psychological or financial hardship that some participants face, one multi-level marketing scheme, LuLaRoe, responded, "Retail is not for everyone. Retailers own their own businesses and make their own decisions. The success of any business depends on its leaders' own respective and independent business goals and the strategies they employ to achieve those goals." While there may be some truth to the statement, LuLaRoe's lack of accountability for their employees is almost disturbing. And I would go so far to say it 100,000% is, especially after we have that LuLaRoe documentary out. Continuing, when these MLMs hold all the cards but refuse to take responsibility for any damage their business model causes, it creates a dangerous psychological and financial situations for their distributors. Number 2 says, no tolerance for questions or critical inquiry. Absolutely. I've heard that so much. And they see it as negative, right? You're so negative if you have questions or you critically think about something. They want you to not think at all. in my opinion. So, number 2, going on, she says, sooner or later, the participants or their concerned loved ones begin to question the authority of the MLM. They begin to realize that they're spending money, not making it. And they want to know why. When Valerie questioned the other distributors of Amway, her criticisms were ignored, and they continued to manipulate her husband. Valerie said, finally, I asked our oh-so-caring sponsors to talk to him and get him to drop the business since he obviously is not going to work it. Instead, they encouraged him to continue having contact with them behind my back. He got a credit card that I did not know about and put $6,000 on it while pulling the bills out of the mail so that I never saw them. This was because I was working a second job to try and pay off the other 2 credit cards, 80+% of which were charged up with Amway crap. I was giving him $400 a month that he was supposed to be directly applying to charge cards. Instead, he was making the minimum payments and spending the cash on more motivational crap. They told him he was doing the right thing because once he became successful, it would all be made up to me in spades. That is so sad to hear. Continuing, most companies, when facing backlash from their employees, would try to address the claims. MLMs, however, teach their employees to shame anybody who says a bad word about the company. Not only do MLMs take no accountability for their actions, but they've designed their system in a way that blames the distributor for any loss they experience and shame them for asking questions. Number 3, no meaningful financial disclosure. Y'all, this is absolutely 100%, 1000%. No meaningful financial disclosure, no real, raw honesty. I see that there's none of that. Some of the top MLMs take in millions of dollars. LuLaRoe, for instance, went from 0 to 2 billion in less than 10 years. What? Hold on. I did not know that. It says LuLaRoe, for instance, went from 0 to 2 billion in less than 10 years. That would be incredible, except that most of that money is coming from their distributors and not actual customers. Oh, my, $2 billion? Okay, JulieJo, you can have this freak out later, not right now. Becoming a LuLaRoe retailer is not cheap. Buying a starter kit from LuLaRoe starts at $4,900, $4,900. And that's not including any other business costs, like inventory storage, business cards, or extra hangouts, so on and so forth. And some even pay $15,000 to invest into it. The point is, even though LuLaRoe and other MLMs disclose the amount of money they pull in, they don't necessarily point out that this money isn't from selling products, but from recruiting distributors. Let's think about this for a second. I want to stop and I want us to really process this. The MLM is making money not from just sales, necessarily, right? Not just from people selling. In my opinion, they're making the most money from people just buying in. That's it. Very simple. Because a lot of times what happens is someone buys in, right, to start the business, and then they realize it's not for them. It's weird. I don't like doing it. I don't like the products or whatever. There's so many people like that who have literally only bought the starter kit. I want to stop there and continue to read here. They fool participants into thinking they're starting their own business, but the distributor is actually the customer. Agreed. Agreed completely. The distributor is definitely, in my opinion, the MLM's biggest customer. The distributors are the biggest customers, and they always will be. Always, always, always. Number 4 is unreasonable fear about the outside world. Isn't this an interesting point? I think this one's so interesting because it's very true. She says, okay, so MLMs aren't locking people in bunkers and telling them the world is ended. However, they are, in their own way, promoting fear about the world outside of MLMs and isolating their distributors. The target audience for MLMs is usually mothers. Stay-at-home moms looking to generate a little side income are drawn by the possibility of getting rich while working flexible hours. They're often attracted to the sense of belonging and community that an MLM provides. I would say so. I would agree with that. And I believe that they are in a vulnerable position because they're trying to make some income for themselves. They're at home, they're taking care of children, which is exhausting, and they have less time with the people they love and their friends and all this, and they oftentimes feel like they're lacking a community, they're lacking an income that they want, and they would love, who wouldn't love to make a lot of money and just working it in the nooks and crannies of your life, right? Working it when you want. That's like their big thing. A lot of people. But the thing is, that is deceptive because that's not actually how it works. Continuing with the article, it says, If all of your closest friends sell doTERRA essential oils and constantly boast about their success, you'd probably want to sell essential oils too, if only to fit in. When you're trying to pitch a product to everyone you know, people get upset. Even if they don't chew you out for it, they'll probably stop hanging out with you. This is an understandable reaction, but it also forces participants to fall back on their quote-unquote MLM family for support, leading them further into the world of MLM until that's all they know. I want to talk about this for a second because I did this. I had several people be unkind to me. A few like really, really mean, awful, just like, I just remember it hurting so badly what they said to me because it was more of like just being rude instead of just saying no. And a little more than just being rude in my opinion, but it pushed me further into the MLM. That's why I tell people, don't be mean. There's no reason to be rude and harsh and yucky to them. Yucky, but it's kind of true. Like if you're just being an a-hole to them because they asked you to join their MLM, they're not going to want to talk to you because you just seem like a mean person. And I get it. A lot of times we don't want them to talk to us anyway. I do. I want them to talk to me. Come talk to me in my DMs. Let's have a chat. But you probably don't. And the thing is, the more that we're mean, the more that we're harsh, the more that we're just rude to them and awful to them, the more they're going to fall into their MLM family. That's why the majority of my coverage is on top leaders who know what they're doing for the most part, who know that they're hurting people. That's why Ashley Mayfield is in this video today and not someone who's like in the third rank of itworks, right? Or the bottom, because they don't necessarily know what's going on. They are not always there to scam people. A lot of people in MLMs aren't bad people. Just like a lot of people in cults aren't bad people. They are manipulated in many ways. So anyway, that's my little spiel. Continuing, when these participants do want to leave their MLM, they find it's a lot more difficult than just quitting. Their MLM has become their family and closest confidants. Which is true. I can relate to that. Then when I left, I lost the majority of them, which was pretty upsetting. Number 5, there is no legitimate reason to leave. Despite losing hundreds or thousands of dollars, distributors struggle to get out for 2 main reasons. Number 1, the promise of potential wealth. Oftentimes, MLMs will advertise special prizes or rewards for their retailers, while also toting their 1% of successful distributors for all to see. Who wouldn't be enticed by the possibility of a new car or thousands of dollars, especially when all you need to do is just stick it out a little bit longer, invest a little bit more money, work a little harder. Number 2 is, as mentioned before, participants have been isolated from their peers and often become ingrained in their MLM community. Not only would the other members shame them for leaving, but they'd be losing their friends too. So oftentimes, they're going to lose a lot of their friends who aren't in the MLM. They're going to, push some people away. People are going to push them away. It happens often and most of the time, actually. And then you're stuck with your only friends and your close people being in the MLM. So if you leave them, you're on your own. You have no one else. You're isolated even more, to the extent where you look around, you've pushed your friends out of your life, you've pushed your close family members out of your life, and now you pushed the only people left, people in the MLM. It's a very difficult thing to experience. I did. And it brought me to the point of wanting to end my life, which I attempted. It's very hard. It's a very isolating, emotionally erupting thing. And the only thing I knew is that I couldn't go back to the MLM because that was bad. I saw, and I turned away because in my heart, in my head, I knew I'd done enough damage. I couldn't continue this. There's no way now that I see what it is, even if that means I'm isolated, even if that means I'm on my own, even if that means I have no more friends, I just can't. So I can relate to the people who experience that. And if you experienced it, I'm so sorry. And I'd love to have a chat with you. Carolyn, a former director of Mary Kay, shared about her experience of leaving Mary Kay in an article on Pink Truth. I was heartbroken to walk away. I loved Mary Kay and all I thought it had done for my family. All of my Mary Kay friends started to cut ties with me. I learned through the grapevine that I made myself look like a failure when I returned my inventory. Nothing I had done in 10 years of commitment, growth, overcoming obstacles, dedication to the people in my unit, dedication to Mary Kay's dream, Nothing meant anything to the people who were supposed to be my friends after I quit. For these reasons, many participants stay in MLMs far too long. Number 6, and we're almost done. Number 6 is former members often relate to the same stories of abuse. Because let's be very honest, a lot of it is abuse. And I'm gonna have to maybe like quiet that word out. I don't know if I will remember to do it, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's ABUSE. Okay, you'll see it on the screen, hopefully, if I remember to add the thing in. It says, those who manage to make it out of MLMs rarely have good things to say. The internet is full of former MLM members warning others about the deception of these companies. One former retailer for Mary Kay, dubbed as Sad and Pink, wrote about the lies she was fed by Mary Kay. The title of this that she wrote was MLM is Without Risk. In MK, we are told that the company will buy back your inventory at 90% of your cost. Truth. The company finds many ways to reduce the amount you get back by talking out the cost of awards, prizes, car expenses if it's unpaid, chargebacks if any of your team members leave before they mail your check. They don't refund any of your out-of-pocket costs for training, supplies, postage, gas, etc., and those add up fast. Plus, you face debt if you come in with a big inventory and cannot move it. I personally have several friends who've moved up to directorship and are now in deep debt. They were not lazy and they made every effort to move up, but it does not work. Often it's only when someone leaves an MLM that they begin to realize just how much they were being influenced or deceived, much like an actual cult. And the last one, number 7, followers feel they can never be good enough. Besides financial devastation, MLMs also dabble in psychological abuse, if you haven't already picked up on that. It's obvious that most participants don't make money, yet MLMs only advertise the success of rare distributors who do profit. This tactic makes most retailers feel like failures. Surely, if they could just work hard enough, they'd get rich, right? That's the attitude that MLMs and other distributors try to promote. As time goes on and participants only lose money, their self-esteem diminishes and they feel at fault for their failures. Anytime they attempt to blame the MLM system, the blame is only shifted back to them by other distributors who are unwilling to accept criticism about the company. This, coupled with financial devastation and conflict with loved ones, makes for a nasty cocktail of psychological crisis. Multi-level marketing schemes may try and masquerade as legitimate, profitable organizations, but their business practices resemble cults more than actual companies. So that was the article. I think a lot of us have experienced a lot of these and seen a lot of it, and it's difficult. A lot of us have experienced that nasty cocktail of psychological crisis, including myself. Now we're going to get to the video at hand. This person is a top of itworks. She was in one of our lives recently, mine and Aaron's, and I was infatuated with how, charismatic and also rude and manipulative this person is. And in my opinion, she knows exactly what she's doing. So let's get to the video. Let's talk about it. We'll be at 1.25 speed. I couldn't do 1.5 because she talks way too fast. By the way, she opens every video the way she's going to open this video, so buckle up.
Hello, everybody. What is up? Ashley Mayfield here. Happy Monday. Happy November 1st. Holy moly, we are flying by Q4. Okay, we only have 2 full months left. And I had to jump on and talk to you guys about why you're not hitting your goal, okay? Very interesting story. So first off, before I even dive in, I want y'all to know if I look like I just sucked on a glazed donut because my lips are freaking glistening, it is because my lips are so chapped right now. They hurt so bad. How many of you are like traumatized by the weather, okay? They hurt so freaking bad. So I had to like slather old school Vaseline. My husband's like, just got, like my little Vaseline stick ain't doing it, y'all. And y'all know I am so committed to that thing. But I had to get like old school Vaseline, get a Q-tip. And like, so if it looks like I sucked on a donut, I promise I haven't. All right, let's dive in. Why are you not reaching your goals? So this is going to be some real, authentic truth talk. If you're not ready for this, you might have to hop off today, okay? Because it's no—
Let's remember that the reason they're not reaching their goals is not necessarily because of them, right? It's really just because the business structure doesn't allow you to. That's how it works. That's really how the MLM business structure works. But she's going to make sure that they don't think that.
November 1st and your girl's coming in hot, all right? So this is like real hot off the press. Last week I had connected with some of my friends in business and I'm like, yo, this doesn't make sense to me. Why do you have one person who has every reason to fight for a goal, but then you have another person who has every reason to make an excuse, But the person who has every reason making an excuse is crushing their goals. And the person who has every reason to fight for a goal is making excuses. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Are you processing what I'm saying? Because I'm like not saying it, but I'm saying it, okay? And I was really frustrated last week by this concept. Like, how do you have two people who have similar experiences, two people who have similar stories, two people who have similar goals, yet one of them is crushing it and getting it and the other isn't? Are you that person?
Let's remember the word similar does not mean exact. So she's acting like she knows these people's situations completely, acting as though one of them is failing and the other one's success. And the reason that the other one is failing is because of themselves. Who knows? Is this even true? Is her story even true? I have no idea. Sometimes they just use it for an example or whatever. But even the person that is being successful likely isn't actually being successful. They're just making her more money. I've come to the conclusion that they see success for their downline, as in how much money that person's making them, not really what rank you hit. Because you could be at a high rank, but you end up stopping the business because you get really sick, or your child is sick, or a family member passes, or whatever. You know, there's a reason, and you can't do it. And then they think, well, she's not being successful anymore because she's not making me money. I think, again, my opinion, that's how they kind of decipher what success is how much that person is making them.
Are you that person that you're like, why can I not get my goal? I know exactly what it is that I want. I know exactly what I'm fighting for. I know exactly why I need to, but why do I not feel compelled? Why do I not operate with a level of urgency, okay? Maybe that's you. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking to you. Maybe you need to share this with someone who it is applicable to. That way they can get the information. And so make sure you like, comment, and share. Okay, y'all know how I am. Like, comment, and share. Pay the fee. But here's the deal. So I, in my own frustration, talking to some of my friends, I'm like, what is going on? And one of my closest friends was like, Ashley, one person has a plan B.
She said, pay the fee. Did you hear that? Did y'all catch that? Because she was like, comment, share, pay the fee. Wait, I like that. Pay the fee. Like and subscribe. Pay the fee. No, I'm just kidding. But good reminder, huh? Thought that was funny.
She's like, she got a plan B. That's why she is the way she is. She got a backup plan. And I said, oh my God, like, why did I not think of that? So why are you not where you want to be? Now, last week, I told y'all to get out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is a differentiating factor between her, who you're watching, and where you're at now. But what about the girl that's crushing her goals? And you're like, we got the same story. We got the same why. We got the same drive. We got the same reason. Why is she doing it? Do you have a plan B? Is your business suffering because you have no plan B? Or because you have a plan B. I said that backwards. Because you have a plan B. Okay? So when you're looking at the people who are hunkered down, who are going at it, who are going all in, the women that are crossing their finish lines, it's because they have no plan B. We have no choice. And as I reflect on the last 5 years of entrepreneurship, I've had no choice. I've either had my back against the wall or I've had to manipulate the situation. How many of y'all have been there? You have to manipulate the situation so your back is against the wall. That way you create that urgency.
Did she just tell people to not have a plan B? To be completely reliant on the multi-level marketing business? To solely focus and only rely on this to bring you money when the majority of people won't even profit? Yeah, now that is a great example of the psychological manipulation that they do in MLMs. They're like, you're going to be successful if you do this. They're like, once you do this, you'll do it. You'll be good. Once you ixnay that plan B you got back there, you'll be good to go. Once you quit that job you got going on, you'll be good to go. You'll be successful. Oh, you're not successful after that? Let me think, what's next? Oh, once you update your mindset, right? Once you push your mindset up a little bit more, make your mindset better, you'll be good to go. That is, I don't think I've ever heard a multi-level marketing top leader say, quit your plan B. Throw the plan B in the trash. It's holding you back. This person, in my opinion, is absolutely, horrifically manipulating, emotionally, mentally manipulating these people to be 100% reliant on this company and this business or whatever that doesn't actually make the majority of people money at all, and likely they lose it. They are supposed to bow down to this as their only thing left. What? Ashley, thank you for that. I loved that section because it is the perfect example of you hurting and manipulating people and potentially ruining their life and their family's life.
As we're talking about this, what could a plan B be? I don't know. Maybe a plan B is your spouse works full time. So you really don't need to do your business. You don't really need to chase your dreams and aspirations, because at the end of the day, if you fall short, you'll mad at you. Maybe your plan B is your full-time job. You be talking about how much you hate your full-time job, how much you want to leave your full-time job. But then when your business is struggling, when your dream is struggling, when that goal that you have in life is struggling, you're like, you know what? My job, it's not as bad as I think it is. Like, it pays my bills. And all of a sudden you start backtracking all the goals and the commitments that you put out there because you have a plan B, okay? And so what's crazy about this is there's a specific group of people. Are you a part of that all-in mindset? I want to know, are you a part of the all-in mindset? You see, when you show up to your goal, your dream, whatever it is that you're fighting for, and you have an all-in mindset, it shifts the game. It absolutely shifts the game. There's a, I'm going all in. I'm putting all the chips in. There's a level of commitment. There's a level of sacrifice.
Why would you do something? Why would you go all in for something that is actually a worse outcome than you gambling? It's worse to do than gambling. You'd make more money gambling. Straight up. Statistics study done in my last video. I have the source in my last video, but I might post it down here if I remember to do it. I might have to write that down. But nonetheless, you are telling people to gamble their livelihood on something that is worse than actual gambling, on something that has hurt so many people and their families and put them in a way worse position than they were before. For you to make more income, you have to be some kind of something to be able to sit there, realize what you're doing, and continue to do it.
That is required when you have an all-in. You see, it actually costs you something. It costs you something. And so I kind of want to break down, why you need an all-in mindset. And this isn't just, you come to your own conclusions, okay? You like, tag, and share someone, y'all. Like, tag, and share this, okay? But here's the deal. It has been scientifically proven that, I wrote it down, it's been scientifically proven, people who have a backup plan. If you're someone that you're like, oh, at the end of the day, if this doesn't work out, I'll go back to my 9 to 5. Oh, at the end of the day, it's not like I'm trying to leave my job anyway, so it's not a big deal. Oh, at the end of the day, I have this other thing I think I'm flirting with, so it's no big deal if this don't work out. It's been scientifically proven that people who have a backup plan do not put in as much effort and focus as people who have no plan B. So if you're wondering why it's not working for you, why is this not working?
I'm going to need a source for that, Ashley. Give me a source. Give me a source. Please and thank you.
Do you have a plan B? And again, that plan B can look like a variety of different things. It could look like you have another way that your bills are paid. It could look like maybe that's your spouse. Maybe that's your full-time job. Maybe that's your part-time job. A lot of people crack me up. I feel like one of the popular things to say is how you're a serial entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I like to bounce around. No, heifer, maybe that means you can't stay committed.
Can you stop calling people heifer? Yep, you heard it. She said it. She said it in our last live too, or our live with itworks too. But yeah, she calls people heifer. I think that's just rude.
Maybe that means, and I'm not saying it's not true, because I do think that there are people that are serial entrepreneurs, but a lot of times it's people who have found success in one area and then they open up their portfolio. Like myself, I have become, over the earnings of being in the online business I have earned over $1 million. I'm not making $1 million a year. I have earned accumulatively over $1 million. And so guess what? Now I'm opening and launching something else, okay? Because I have found a stream that is extremely successful. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times people are like, oh, I just want to be, no, a serial entrepreneur, for people who have not found a deep-rooted stream, it's just you're the jack of all trades, master of none. When things get hard, when things get difficult, when you get bored, when things don't have the result you want, you jump ship, you bounce to thing to thing to thing, and now you're trying to handle and balance 3 to 5 different journeys, and you're the jack of all trades, master of none. So I would challenge you and I would impress upon you today to have an all-in mindset in one thing. And I think successful millionaires know that. They go, millionaires have 7 different streams. That's not what got them to be a millionaire. What got them to be a millionaire is one stream that they went all in. There is power.
I don't know about that. I don't think that's right. I mean, sure, there's nuance to it, but I think that their 7 streams of different income is what helped them be a millionaire. But that's just me. Maybe that's just little uneducated JulieJo not knowing a thing about it, okay? But what you're saying, Ashley, what you're telling these people to do is quit the thing that's actually allowing them to live a life where they have shelter, food, and they're taken care of. Quit it. Because when you quit that, you'll be all in, you'll have no other choice. And what if it doesn't work out? Then it's their fault? I would actually say you're partially responsible for that. Why? Well, you are a top leader in itworks. You are intentional about being influential. You want to impact lives. You want to influence people to do things and to say things and to act a certain way. And you're telling them to do this. So why wouldn't they trust you? You're a top leader in a company saying this and they're looking up to you. Why wouldn't they trust you? But they do it and you're going to say, oh, that didn't work out. It's your fault. You didn't put enough work in. No, it's not all their fault. You are also responsible for that.
There is conviction, there is results in going all in. So I really want to break down 3 reasons why you need an all-in mindset, let alone, again, scientifically proven that you're going to put in more effort and more focus when you have no plan B, okay? But if you're someone that's struggling or you know someone struggling, you need to share this with them, okay? And let me encourage you, and like I said, just impress upon you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you why it's not working, but I'm impressing upon you. Could it be that you have a plan B? Could it be you have a backdoor? Could it be that you have not burned the boats to take the island? That is a mentality. That is a mindset that you have to cultivate.
That's the same mindset as you saying, have no savings. Just put all your money into this. Just put everything into that. No savings, nothing to hold you back, nothing to lean on. But we all know that's an absolutely ridiculous thing, right? We all know that's just ridiculous to have 0 savings when you have the ability to save and 0 thing to fall back on when you have the ability to have something to fall back on. That is the same thing as you telling people to spend their savings. What? No, don't do that. There's no logic in that. There's absolutely no proper reasoning for that. Some people do have to do it because they have to, with whether it be medical bills or, which might be Riley and I soon, but whatever, or, whatever, right? Someone was injured, they lost their job, so they have to rely on the savings that they have and they use it up and so on and so forth. What? I'm laughing because of how ridiculous it is.
Again, I'm just looking back on the last 5 years, and when my girlfriend said this, I was like, dang, like that is the reason why 2 people with the exact same story, 2 people with the exact same why, 2 people with the exact same drive, one can get it and one won't. That could be a differentiating factor. Is one of the girls that I know that is extremely successful. She has every reason to give every excuse in the book. She has no plan B. Literally none. Not a plan B. She's got to make this work. And then there's another girl, very comparable situation. She's got a plan B. She don't have to show up all the time. She's got a plan B, right? But it's interesting how the girl who has no excuses.
And why would that matter to you though? If it's all about them and their success and what they do, why does it matter so much to you? Could it be that the girl with the plan B isn't making you as much money? Could it be that? I have a feeling it's that.
Never complains. And the girl who has a plan B complains all the time that it's not working for her. Okay. And so I just think it's really, really interesting. So let me give you 3 reasons. What can benefit you from having an all-in mindset? How can this benefit you? How is this going to help you? Okay. Super, super important we talk about this. So number 1, when you have an all-in mindset, when you have no plan B on the table, it's going to raise the foundation. It's going to force you to think higher. What do I mean by this? We tried paying off debt so many times. Okay, if you know my story, you know we paid off $63,801.99 in 6 months. We went 100% debt-free in 6 months. But here's the true reality, is we had gone debt-free numerous times before. We tried, we attempted, okay? But the problem is we didn't have an all-in mindset. We didn't have we're gonna go debt-free. It was this cute little idea that we talked about. How many of you are showing up to business as this cute little idea like, oh, maybe it can bring me home. Like, it's almost like you haven't even made a decision. Maybe it can bring me home, but if it doesn't, it's okay because my job pays my bills. It's when we looked at the debt and we raised the foundation. You see, a lot of people want, this is like a whole podcast I'm gonna be launching. A lot of people want to have goals. A lot of people want to say what they're gonna do, but they don't raise the foundation and how they operated. You see, we had tried to go debt-free numerous times without raising the foundation. What does that mean? Let me break it down. That means we made decisions to try to pay off debt. This was before I was even an entrepreneur. I was a full-time retail manager. My husband was a pastor on staff at a church. And we're gonna go debt-free. We increased our money, but we did not decrease our lifestyle. We did not decrease our habits. We had a plan B. We thought that we could go all in on a goal, right? We thought we could go all in on a goal, but the problem was we didn't change our mindset.
Was that the problem? It seems that you were just irresponsible. It seems that you just didn't have the drive to do it. But you were able to do it once you started being successful in MLM 6 or 7 years ago when it was early in itworks and itworks was exploding. You joined at the right time. You started making a good income from itworks, right? You started climbing the ranks and then you were able to pay off your debt. It couldn't have been your large supplemental income that paid it off, right? It doesn't sound like you actually changed your mindset. It sounded like you just became successful in an MLM, which rarely happens. She's saying that it was her raising the foundation that paid off her debt, that it was her committing to the MLM that paid off her debt, that before they just didn't have a good mindset. That's not what happened though, in my opinion. When I look at it, I see them, maybe struggling, right, to pay off because they're living either paycheck to paycheck or they're just not that good with money or whatever it is. No judgment here, right? It happens. So they weren't able to pay it off, right? They planned, they talked, they tried, couldn't do it. But then she joined an MLM at a perfect time for itworks, right? 6, 7 years ago, just slam dunk for itworks. And then she grew a massive downline, ranking her up and making her more money. So she got a large supplement of income that was able to pay off her debt. So no, your mindset didn't change your income. Your downline did. Your mindset didn't pay your debt off. Your downline paid your debt off. Think that that's pretty straightforward when you break it down. It's hard to see past this mumbo jumbo charisma that she has, but once you get it, right? Once you say, wait, stop. Because they don't want you to stop and think. They don't want any thought stopping. That's why she's like constantly talking, constantly going fast, going intense, going hard. Because they don't want you to think. They want you to be almost overstimulated, overwhelmed. But when you say, wait, stop, you get what she's saying and you break it apart. You then help discredit what she says. Because you go, no, that actually isn't logical. That doesn't make sense. Dear God, I love doing this. Thank you for being here. I'm having a blast doing this. Some of y'all are probably like, you are wild for wanting to do this. And like, this is wild that you wanted to. I love it. I love just like breaking down the logic of their illogical statements that they try to throw onto you like a bucket of water. And you don't even have time to like take a breath from the water hitting your face before they throw another one on. But I am going to come in there and I'm going to be that freaking wall that puts you between the bucket of water that she's going to throw on you and the next bucket of water, right? So that you have a moment to like take a deep breath from the water she already threw on you and go, wait a minute, I don't like that. That's not true. Anyway, just having a good time.
Problem was we didn't change our lifestyle. How many of you know if you want to go all in, you can't go all in saying you're going to pay off debt and you still be eating out at restaurants every week. Come on, y'all. Like stop bullcrapping yourself. Okay. How many of you know you can't do that? You can't say you're going to pay off your debt and you go and I'm talking about all in. I'm not here to like, but I'm saying you can't make a commitment. I'm going debt free and you still got annual passes to Disney. It's an all in. I'm talking about an all in mindset. Okay. So it wasn't until 2017 when we had an all in mindset about our debt. We raised the foundation in which we operated. We said in 2015, guess what we were doing? We were still shopping all the time. We was going out to restaurants. I was buying clothes, but we were paying off debt. No, we wondered why we weren't really making progress. We wondered why we paid off all of our credit cards and all of our car loans. All we had was student loans. And guess what? 6 months later, we went from no credit card debt to $30,000 in credit card debt in 6 months. Why? Because we didn't have an all-in mindset. You see, when you decide to have an all-in mindset, when you make a decision.
Or you were just financially illiterate, and that's okay. A lot of people are. It's okay. There's no shame. But then you take the step to learn to get better. Right? Nobody's perfect though with money. Let's be honest. Nobody is perfect with money. And we're all just trying to learn and live out here. We're all learning.
You raise the foundation in which you operate. We could know when we raised that, when we really went in debt free and we really paid everything off, we raised the foundation in which our thought process was. We said no longer are we going out to eat. No longer are we going to travel. No longer are we XYZ. Now that's just my truth and my story. I'm here just asking you the question, could you not be where you want to be in business because you have a plan B? You see, we had no plan B.
Girl, you're still on this one point. There's 3 points and I swear to God she's on number 1 and she's been talking about it for 13 minutes and 52 seconds. It's over half of the video. Stop. Move on. We've heard you say, actually, this is great to be able to talk about. We've heard you say this thing, right? Like 4 or 5 times, same thing, multiple times, over and over and over. that is a cult tactic. Repetition is a way for you to manipulate someone. It is definitely a way. A lot of times they'll say it 3 times or more in a span of a few minutes, maybe back to back to back. It is a way to, quote unquote, brainwash someone into possibly believing what you're saying, even though it is so wild. So through constant repetition, we can be manipulated. It is often tried to increase the credibility of a statement by the constant repetition, as in brainwashing. As the number of repetitions of an assertion tends to increase, the willingness to accept an assertion as true tends to increase. Through repetition, a notoriety effect occurs that causes us to adopt a familiar, friendly attitude. I see this often, and when you know it is a manipulation tactic, you go, wait, why did they just say that many times? Why did they repeat it? It's because they're trying to instill it. They're trying to make you believe it more. And believe it or not, psychologically, it does increase the possibility of you believing it when you don't realize what they're doing. So feel free to look it up.
Came to that moment. There was no plan B. We made a decision. We were going to pay off our debt. We had a game plan. We stuck to it. All of this. In fact, my husband's writing a book all on money, and it kind of explains our process. Or, well, he's not writing a book. He wrote a book. My husband wrote a book, y'all. Isn't that cool? No ETA on when it's going to be officially launched. I'm actually reading it. I'm like 2/3 of the way done. It's actually really good, and that might be me saying being biased. But y'all know I don't like fluff you and BS you. In 75 Hard, I was reading 10 pages a day. I've read more than 10 pages a day because it's a really easy read and I get really sucked in. And it's also our story. So maybe I am super biased and my husband's hot. So there you go. But we raised the foundation. And so, I was so immersed when we were paying off our debt, we raised the foundation. We were so immersed in what we wanted that we didn't have these minor struggles like other people do. When people want to pay off debt, they just think about what they're lacking. Oh, but I'm not able to go out to restaurants anymore and I'm not able to do. And so they make exceptions for themselves. They have these plan Bs in their back pocket. Well, we're paying off debt, except we're still going to go out to eat on Friday nights. We're paying off debt, except we're still going to shop at Target where we're going to spend $300 more than we allotted. We're going to pay off debt, except we're going to buy a new car because we can. Okay, they have these exceptions. And when we show up to our dreams, goals, and aspirations with exceptions, that's a plan B. That's hurting you. That is a plan B. So you've got to, who do you need to tag in this video? You need to raise the foundation of your thought process. You need to think higher. And guess what? Because of that, we don't struggle like most Americans are struggling right now. And
why does she keep saying plan B? Why does she keep saying, I believe she's continuing to say it because she wants you to believe it. The more likely you are to believe it if you don't know what she's doing. And again, that has been proven. It's psychological.
Saying that to you humbly. I'm not saying that because I'm better than you. I'm saying that because when we made a decision to go, there was no plan B. And that's why we failed at it years prior. Numerous times we failed at it. It was more than just making a decision. We had no plan B. You have to raise the foundation. We no longer gone were the days where we're broke, busted, and disgusted. We had to raise the foundation. You can set all these goals all you want, but if you don't raise the foundation, if you're not saying I'm all in, you're never going to cross the finish line no matter what it is. Health, finances, marital, whatever. And speaking of marital, the second point I would give you, the benefit of going all in, it's not just raising a foundation. It's not just altering and changing who you are. And guess what? That didn't last forever. That's a whole nother byproduct of the conversation. A lot of people will not sacrifice now for later. Guess what? The now was a very short term. And now I can go out to eat whenever I go out to eat 30 days out of the month, 31 days. It doesn't matter because we did it. And because our financial situation, because we were willing to sacrifice, because we had no plan B, it changed our life. And so for you, for a very short time, you can go all in with no plan B and then you will have all the plans in the world, right?
That's not true though. From what she's told us, this isn't true. She didn't get disciplined enough to stop eating out, to doing this, to doing that. All she did was start an MLM company at the right time in the right place and make a whole extra income that was able to pay that off. Pretty sure that's what she was talking about earlier, that she started this and then she paid off her debt. So no, what she's saying is that you need to be all in, but she wasn't. She didn't have to be all in. She never was able to even be all in, right? Because she's saying we weren't able to stop eating out. We were able to. Well, you've never had to. Allegedly, what, in my opinion, from what I've heard, all you've done was start an MLM business, whatever you want to call it, scam, I would call it that, at the right place at the right time, and that's it. So why are you teaching this as though you did it? You never did.
But speaking of marriage, the second thing is that when you have, gotta turn my heater off. When you have no plan B, it increases your commitment, okay? So when we got married, when me and Mr. Mayfield got married, it was till death do us part. Now, whether death comes naturally, organically, or death comes by way of widow. I will not be single. I will be a widow before I'm single. Can I get an amen? Okay. He knows that. He's afraid of me. Consider this like a verbal threat. Okay. Yes, he knows. and he would do the same for me. Okay. Ain't no hoeing around. Ain't no cheating. Ain't no nothing. And so when you come with no plan B, and this was a conversation prior to us even getting married, like it was like divorce is not an option, let alone we both come from broken homes. He's an ordained minister with our denomination. So that like, he's like, I'm not getting divorced. Like that's going to like conflict my calling on my life. Okay. But we wanted something better for our family. So there was divorce is not on the table. Okay.
Let's be real. Sometimes divorce is better for the family. For my family, it was 110% better. Now, of course, I experienced major trauma, blah, blah, but it would have been way worse if they stayed together. I respect the fact that she doesn't want to get one. Again, nuance. Sometimes divorce is the best option. And guess what? That's okay. So I just thought I'd put that. I feel like she's a little shamey with that. So I thought I'd throw that out there for y'all because she's being ridiculous.
So when you have no plan B, I'm not bringing condemnation on anybody. I'm telling you my story. When you have no plan B, okay, and don't get it twisted, like I'm not saying I wouldn't. I mean, if my husband starts beating me, like I ain't saying married to him. So get what I'm saying, okay? But then I'll be a widow. But when you have a plan B, when you're not prioritizing your, so like let me put it like this: when we fight and don't, we are both dominant type A personalities, yo. We're like power couple, or it's like World War III up in here. Can I get an amen? Okay, like heifer, we gonna work it out, we gonna fight it out, we gonna figure it out, amen. But there ain't no plan B. Okay, there ain't no plan B. Like this is what you stuck with. Okay, so I have a responsibility to be the best version of myself, to give my husband the best version of me. My husband has a responsibility to be the best version of himself, so he gives the best version to our marriage. When you have an all-in mindset, you increase the level of commitment. Okay, if you do not have an all-in mindset on your business, on whatever your dream is, if you have a plan B, you're not going to stay committed during the hard times. When things get hard, see, I already know how to handle the hard times right now.
Just because you can't stay committed during the hard times of your business or whatever doesn't mean other people can't. Just because you struggled with staying committed, I'm not saying in her relationship, I'm just saying in general, it seems like she struggled with it and had to learn how to be committed. Doesn't mean other people have that same struggle.
Baby, I already know. I already know we solution oriented around here. Okay? I know how to handle this. This shows me how to handle the hard times. Are you committed to your business? Are you committed to your dream? I'm not talking about being loyal to a company. People who say that, you're ridiculous. I'm not talking about being loyal to a company. I'm talking about being loyal to your dream. Okay? I don't care if that's offensive to you. Okay? Are you loyal to your dream? Are you loyal to your goals?
That was actually a good example of Dr. Hassan's magical thinking. That's actually good with the magical thinking that Dr. Hassan talked about, what she's saying right here.
Because if you have a plan B, if you say, no, I don't like you put the bread on the fridge, I'm going to go find me a new man. No, I don't like the way you talk to me, I'm going to go find me a new man. No, I don't like that you laughed at me, I'm going to go find me a new man. No, I have a level of commitment. We going to work it out. We going to talk it out. We going to silent treatment it out. I don't know how, but we going to work it out. And so it means we've got parameters on our marriage. We have boundaries. We've raised the foundation like my first point, but there's a level of commitment. Okay. When you have a plan B, there's not a level of commitment there. You're already saying, could you imagine if I was like, hey, I don't know another man's name. Hey, Bob. Okay. So like, Bob, I'm going to come talk to you if my husband doesn't meet all my needs when I want him to. Emotional, mental, physical, all that. Okay. If he doesn't meet all my needs, Bob, I'm gonna call you, Bob. And
She's doing a false equivalence fallacy, right? You can't equate this to your MLM business, because what she's saying is you need to act committed to your MLM business or whatever, the way that you're committed to your marriage. But no, you don't, because if it is logically not making sense to continue it, don't do it. Don't. I see her trying very hard, but she'll never trip me up. Girl, I see what you're doing. Ashley, I see what she's doing, and she's trying to connect these dots psychologically. She is wholeheartedly psychologically manipulating, in my opinion. Like, oh, wow. But what she's trying to do is psychologically connect the dot of you need to be committed to your MLM the way that you're committed to your marriage. But those are not equal. You cannot equalize those as though they are. It is a logical fallacy.
Keep running to Bob every time my husband makes me mad, makes me sad, doesn't do what I want when I want. Would you have a healthy marriage? You tell me, would I have a healthy marriage? Tell me, would I have a healthy marriage if every time Mr. Mayfield did something I didn't like, I ran to Bob? No. And sometimes I find that people are showing up to their business like that. Oh, well, Jason makes me happy, so I'm going to show up to Jason all the time right now. But Jason doesn't make me happy last week, so I ran to Bob. And now you get what I'm saying? Like, and I know that can feel a little like, using that example of marriage. But when we make that applicable to a plan B, like you wouldn't treat your spouse that way, right? No, till death do us part. Till death do us part, whether you get a disease, it is your time to go, or I become a widow because I'm just kidding. It's recorded. Till death do us part. Okay? And so there's a level of commitment. It increases your commitment. Divorce is no longer an option. Cheating is no longer an option. Hoeing around, it ain't an option, y'all. It ain't even an option. There's no plan B here. It's going to work. You get what I'm saying? When you show up to your dreams and your goals and your business that way, there's an all-in mindset that's attached to it. And if you don't have that mindset, of course you're not going to be where you want to be. Because every time you're uncomfortable, Bob rears its little ugly, you go run into Bob. Okay? No Bob. Everybody say no Bob. No Bob. Which brings me to my last point, why you need an all-in mindset. We go round third. We coming home with this. You're going to get results faster. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm just here to present the facts to you. If you're wondering why you're not getting results at the pace you want, could it be because you have a plan B? People who have no plan B get their results faster, period. Debt. If you say you're going to pay off debt, but you want to go out to eat twice a week because it's convenient for you, you can't be mad at the person that crosses their finish line. It's not that you can't cross your finish line. I'm not saying you can't have dreams, while having a plan B. What I'm saying is you're not going to get it as fast as you want. Does that make sense? So it's kind of, my friend gave the analogy the other day, your business is a vehicle to take you to your dreams. And you can get out of the vehicle all you want. You can walk instead of being in the vehicle. Such a profound analogy. You can walk. Some of y'all are choosing to walk towards your dream. You're going to go a lot slower. You just go slower. It just makes sense, right? It's not rocket science. It's not hard. The people who are crossing their finish lines, there is a level of all-in mindset. There's a level of no plan B. There's a level they don't have an option. They don't have a choice. They've got to make the business work. They've got to make the dream work, okay?
That doesn't mean that it will, because it really doesn't. It's proven, statistically proven for the majority, like a lot of people say 99%, that it's not going to. Just because that's the best way that the business structure works. That's how it works.
I mean, you tell me, the person who has free time, one person binge watches Netflix. I'm not saying Netflix is wrong, but what I'm saying with free time, who's going to get results faster? The person that's binge watching for 2 hours because they've got an extra 2 hours, or the person that's learning a skill set for 2 hours? Person A who's binge watching with 2 hours, person B who's learning the new skill set that's going to take them further.
This is a way for her to shame people for not being successful. They do this a lot where they'll bring up something like this and go, this might be the reason that you're not being successful. And they'll do they'll say 100 different things like this, right? Trying to make people think, well, what is it? This doesn't apply to me. Does this? Making them try to not see that it's not actually their fault. It's really, like I said, how the business structure works. I say 100 times. But she's not going to say that. So she's got to try to see what might fit them. Hopefully that made sense.
Probably person B, right? Just makes sense. Who's going to get results faster? Person A, who relies on their job to pay their bills and the business is just fun money, or person B who says, yes, I have a job, but I want my business to pay my mortgage. And so I'm gonna raise the foundation. I'm gonna be committed. I'm gonna get these results faster. I'm gonna hustle. I'm gonna grind, whatever word you want to use. I'm gonna operate with urgency. Okay. Probably person B, because person A has a backup plan. So all in all, what I'm impressing upon you today is if you're not where you want to be, we literally have 61 days left in the year. You have time right now, but do you have a plan B? Do you have a plan B? And if you do, you tell me, could that be the reason you're not where you want to be? Could that be the reason? Okay. I love you guys. I got to hop off, but here's the deal. That's it. I don't have a deal. That's the deal. If you're not where you want to be, is it because you have a plan B? You got to look in the mirror. You got to ask yourself that, and you got to decide, are you ready to shift mentally to get something you've never had because you're going to do something you've never done? The choice is yours. And so happy November 1st. I love y'all. Let's go.
Okay, bye. Well, that was great. Good times. Awesome. That was a perfect example, I think. Let me know if you agree below or not. But there will be sources for you to read because I did not read the majority of the articles too. Now, I would love to know your thoughts. I want to know if you feel like you see the psychological manipulation I'm talking about. Do you see it? Do you get it? When I call it out, pull it out, and break it apart, does it make sense? Does it make more sense as to what's going on? Thank you for being here. Go ahead and like and subscribe. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Show you what I'm all about. Make up for what we lost. Tonight is the night that we're gonna fall in love. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what happened.